consider them found.
Pour you a drink, godlike?
The crops roll.
Can anything be done?
Bly thinks I ought to give up farming and leave Emerald stay.
And the animancers are useless. You heard them arguing out
Well, I'll be a godlike in the bore. Apologies for the ruckus outside. The animancers never know when to shut their mouths. You can't take a piece in the fjord without spotting an animancer. But finding an animancer you can trust... They are the only animancers taking the Dream Scourge seriously. Outside and up the stairs, they're arguing with Vidaro. Just follow the profanity. Welcome back, envoy.
You ever think, what if I wasn't there? Or what would you do? I'd be a flower picker. Ah, maybe a cowherd. I know.
How can you ignore what's right in front of you? The Dream Scourge is here, in the soil, and it's killing us. Oh my goodness. Are you a godlike? In that case, you're right on time.
Maybe you can talk some sense into our governor. Put the fear of the gods in him.
Seems more likely you'll have to punch some sense into him.
Excuse me, but unless you have official business, I'll thank you not to involve yourself in our private discussion. Very well. I hope you remember that behind these walls, your influence has limits.
I'm sure he didn't come all this way just to challenge your authority. As you can see, I was just proving a point to our esteemed governor.
A cart full of spoiled vegetables. You call that a point?
Ha! Emerald Stair used to be a lush garden for miles around, and now I don't even recognize it. First came the invasive species, roots and mycelium growing overnight, as though nature itself had gone mad. The Dream Scourge has twisted our lands, our wildlife, and now our farms.
There may still be time to reverse the damage.
I believe that we can restore the land, bring back its soul and its sanity, cut off the Dream Scourge at the root. Our governor would rather ignore the problem. He doesn't trust animancy as his father did. Before we can deal with the Dream Scourge, we first need to understand it. Unfortunately, new experiments have to go through him.
Once again, bureaucracy stands in the way of getting things done.
I'm just trying to stop Chiata from hurting herself. Animancy is dangerous when you're shooting in the dark. Are you going to tell him about your family's basement? Or should I?
How dare you use that against me?
I know it was an accident, but look what it cost you. We can't let it happen again.
While we argue among ourselves, the Dream Scourge is tearing the living lands apart. Tearing our people apart. It's nothing. Our governor is backed into a corner and lashing out. I almost respect him for it. Buy me a drink sometime, and I'll tell you all about my family's basement. I thought you'd never ask. Well, Governor, looks like I'm taking some time away from my duties. I'll trouble you no more.
Your request is denied, Chiata.
I wasn't asking.
Your responsibilities are to the settlement. Turning away from them sets a precedent that I cannot allow.
Everything I have proposed has been for Fior, and you still refuse to cooperate. Under the circumstances, I don't have much of a choice.
I, Chiata Castel, from this day forth, you are
You're banishing her for that?
What?
Ignacy, we can't lose our brightest animancer in the middle of a crisis.
Your pupil has gone too far, Quilici. Take her and... You're still a guest in my town, but to us, Chiata is an outcast.
Governor, this is unacceptable. Your father would have kept this community together at any cost.
Don't bother, old man. He isn't his father. I've done all I can for Fior Mesiverno. But you haven't even tried. Now limp back to your giant house like a good dog. We should talk somewhere private. Meet me at my house due west by the workshop.
I'll find us another bed.
Another time, my boy.
Is it?
No darkness, only color. My hands, teeth dancing in and out of my mouth.
They act like they've never seen a park room before.
Not sure these walls are keeping much out.
I'm sorry you had to witness that spectacle. Giatta is a spirited animancer, but she can be intolerable at times. Whatever you may think of us, I welcome you to Fiorme Siverno. I believe the nature of the living lands is unpredictable, and animancy is our best chance at getting it under control. But what Giatta wishes to do is more dangerous by far than what she's trying to solve. Quilici wants us panicking over what he can't even prove. If there's a threat to Emerald Stair, it's that old man and his fear-mongering. Don't waste your time on him. Be my guest. Take her away from here. As far as I'm concerned, she's your responsibility.
He reminds me of a lieutenant I served under. Led us into a trap because he wouldn't admit his maps were wrong.
If there's nothing more, I have a city to run. I knew I heard someone snooping about. And you have the gall to confront me like a common criminal. This conversation is over. That is not a topic for discussion. I'll hear no more of this. You go about your business, and I'll go about mine.
We shouldn't let this one go.
Oh, you startled me. This old woman can get lost in prayer from time to time. You must be the Adiran envoy I've been hearing about. Apologies for any hardships you may have experienced getting here. The failing crops, the strange beasts, and even the dream scourge are all the result of our neglect of the dead. I was calling on the spirits of the recently dead to follow the guidance of Bareth, god of death. I am asking the spirits to forgive us for our negligence and continue on their way without anger. The dead of Fjord expect certain rituals to be carried out. I have failed to perform those rituals, and now the spirits are angry. We cannot take that chance. There are angry spirits, and you know the problems we face. I believe the two are related. Our recent dead require a final meal to ease their passage from life. Without it, they can't rejoin the cycle.
You've got people waiting in line for their next meal, and you want to waste food on the dead?
I got food from the grain merchant stores. I just need someone to leave it at the graves. The dead will take it from there.
Flesh and bone. They bring the fruit to those who cannot eat. What tree calls for its branches to endure these rituals?
I did, yes. With things the way they are, there was no other way to get what I need for the ritual. If I didn't think this was important, I wouldn't have taken the food. But this ritual is the key to everything. I know Elena would understand how important it is to pay tribute to the dead. Of course. I follow a Valian tradition that teaches that the journey back to the cycle is a long and perilous one. Bareth appears as the usher to guide souls into the next life, but those who lose their way risk the ire of the Pallid Knight. We offer food to the recently dead to still their minds and give them something to offer should the Knight demand her toll. The recently dead are nearly as alive as you or I. Many don't believe they're dead, and many rebel against Bareth's beckoning. Any peace we can offer only helps them accept their fate and move on to the next life. You must take these offerings of food and place them at 3 grave sites where the recently dead lay. The first offering goes to a cliffside grave on the southern coast. Loggers from the old days, they sacrificed themselves to make the land habitable and lost their lives to creatures of the untamed forest. The second offering goes to a grave in the swamp, far to the west from here. They buried the bodies of settlers there, intrepid sorts that tried to tame the farther reaches of Emerald Stairs wilds. The final offering should be taken to the truffle farm east of Fure, where a family lost their lives to the encroaching wilds. I believe it will do exactly that. The spirits will find closure and rest, and the living can move on from this recent tragedy. Be careful, friends. The angry spirits lash out blindly. I cannot predict what awaits you at these graves.
Next time you want to tour graveyards, I'm staying at camp. We should help the living and let the dead rest.
I can't thank you enough for helping to ease the conscience of an old lady. Please, return when the rituals are complete.